But Rob, I think Kansas City mauling a good 49ers team. At least we think they're good, although they're 3-4. 44-23 in San Francisco. Telling. I thought they'd win. I picked them to win. And Rob, I was telling even Nick Wright, who's a Kansas City homer, but he was doubtful. He had fears. And I said with my chest that Kansas City was going to win. But Rob, here's what I want to say. And I don't know that this will come as a surprise to you because I did call him Jordan-esque years ago. I did say he's got GOAT potential years ago. Of course, that's Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to say this, and it's not because of yesterday. I was actually watching the Buffalo-Kansas City game, which they lost, Kansas City. And I said to my dad, I was watching it with him a few weeks ago, and I said, Mahomes, Rob, is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Now, I don't call him the GOAT. He's got to win a lot of more rings to be considered the GOAT. We all know that. But just the eye test, the elusiveness of him, the ability to extend plays, the ability to throw from various angles, the ability, even no-look passes occasionally, the ability to throw not only the deep ball, but now, after, learning over the last few years, underneath stuff, be patient, take what the defense gives you, throwing people open, lost his best receiver, probably a Hall of Famer, Tyreek Hill, hasn't missed a beat. And, Rob, we know the accolades. You and I talked about it a couple weeks ago when we were talking about him and Josh Allen. And, Rob, Patrick Mahomes, through his first 70 games, and this goes for any quarterback ever, through 70 games, he has the most wins ever, which is 55. He's got the most passing yards per game ever, which is 302. And he's got the most passing touchdowns, 171. And then get this, the game, and I don't know how you feel, when I'm watching him, I'm almost surprised when they don't score. And that enables them to come back from deficits. And get this, Rob, when he is facing a 10-point deficit or more, this is a minimum of 20 starts. His record in games where they're down 10 or more, he wins 59% of those games. The next highest ever is Tom Brady with 38%. So, and we know he's got the Super Bowl, he's got the MVP. And so, Rob, I'm just saying, I just had, for me, eye test, watching this dude, I think he's the best I've seen do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a mouthful. I'm not there yet. He's off to an unbelievable start. But I guess it's weird because of where other people, even coming into this year, where he was ranked.
Right.
Even even the talk after this Sunday, there was a lot of conversation. Even Colin Cowherd went on and said that Joe Burrow had moved. Yeah,
today?
Joe Burrow had moved. He was so impressed by Joe Burrow that he moved him in front for MVP.
What?
Rob G, am I misquoting
him? That's a little
him?
baffling to me.
Didn't he say that it was Joe Burrow? I'm trying to remember exactly, but hold on. I'll tell you. But my point is that it's all over the map, despite what he's done in his numbers, and he's not a consensus by most people in the NFL, which is weird. And I wonder if they take away some stuff from him because of Andy Reid's success with other quarterbacks and how a lot of quarterbacks who have played, you know what I mean, Chris? Yep, and I'm not saying that he can't play.
Right.
But Andy Reid, for whatever reason, they talk about him offensively, every quarterback he's touched has had unbelievable,
Well, he won with Donovan McNabb. How many
but
NFC
every quarterback,
title
Chris,
games?
he's had
Right.
made
And
a Pro
then
Bowl.
Alex Smith, they were pretty good.
Made a Pro Bowl.
Right.
Alex Smith was just an okay quarterback, but before Mahomes got there, he was putting up numbers.
They were winning 11 games.
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't doing this, obviously.
No.
But
I'm just saying.
And
I think that's part of the part that maybe people, and I don't want to say discount because that's not the right word, but what's the right word? Pulled down.
I hear you because you're right. I mean, we saw it earlier this year, Rob. Some people had him ranked. I mean, we're not talking about people. We're talking about NFL Network and ESPN, like 5th, yes, 8th best quarterback or best player.
Right.
Whatever
We even
it was.
said we were surprised at the numbers, and that's what I thought too. And I think you had mentioned it before. You thought he was the most disrespected. Is that what you had said?
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah,
You're right.
You know what I mean? And all these football focus, these are places that watch tape, Chris, and really, put into all kinds of stuff. It's not like some fly-by-night, some talk show host's opinion off the top of his head. This is their business. And they're saying I'd rather take Josh Allen or Justin Herbert before him.
Right. No, they had him ranked. I'll say a few things to that. One, as you know, Rob, because you're maybe the best all time of your era, it doesn't mean you're going to be the best quarterback every single year in the league. Rob, Peyton Manning. Just an argument, right? For him to be the best ever. He made 7 first-team All-Pros. That means he was voted the best quarterback in the league only 7 times. Aaron Rodgers, some would say, eye test, best they've ever seen. You might say that. He's only been first-team All-Pro 4 times. Tom Brady, widely recognized as the GOAT. Rob, 3 times. 3 times first-team All-Pro. So I think we have to keep that in perspective. So if it's Joe Burrow this year or Josh Allen next year and Mahomes the year after that, like, that doesn't mean you won't end up being the GOAT. And then the second thing I'll say, Rob, I think the standards, and he did it himself. I mean, it's not a negative thing, but the way Mahomes came out, Rob, at the beginning of his career. I mean, Rob, if you had asked me after his second year, even his first year, when he didn't win the Super Bowl, what are we, 5 years? This is his 5th year as a starter. If you had asked me after his first or second year, how many championships do you think Mahomes has after, 4 years in the league? I would have said at least 2. I probably would have said 2. And he's got 1. He hasn't thrown even 40 touchdowns, Rob, in a season since he threw the 50 his first year.
Right.
And I think he's been great every year, but even last year, we've talked about it, 37 touchdowns, 13 picks, 4,800 plus yards. But you, correct me if I'm wrong, and some others thought, pretty good year. But I mean, it tells by the surveys we were just talking about. They didn't think he had a great year. For other people, might be phenomenal.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a great year. Not because if we remember correctly, I think it was like 8 games in a row where he had a pick. They lost the AFC Championship game on a pick. I think his last 3 playoff games, right? Have they all ended on picks?
He certainly the AFC title game last year, remember, against Cincinnati. Yep,
that was a pick. But last year I think and the 37 touchdowns for most is great.
Right.
But it was the 8 games in a row with a pick and the turnovers. I mean, it was just a stretch where you didn't see him. You got to remember his first couple of years, I think he didn't have more than 5 picks.
Well, his first year he had 12.
After that,
he had 50 touchdowns. The second year he had
Right.
26 touchdowns, 5
5. That's what I'm
interceptions.
saying. 5. And then what's
next
the next year?
38 and 6.
Yeah, he was at 5 or 6, and this one he
Yeah.
had 13, almost doubled what we were used to. It just seemed
And he's
it
got
didn't feel as
5
good.
this year. He got 20 touchdowns, leads the league, and 5 picks. So he'll probably be around 12, 13 again this year.
Yeah.
But if you have, he's on pace for close to 50 touchdowns, or maybe 50 touchdowns. So, but who would you say quickly before we go to listeners, Rob? Just eye test. If you take out, and we know you can't take out the Super Bowls ultimately, but if you're just saying who you thought played the position the best you've ever seen, who would you say?
Aaron Rodgers.
Over Montana. I'm surprised you said him over Montana.
No, because Montana, as great as he is, he didn't have the complete package. Like, he wasn't mobile. He couldn't get out of the way. That's what Aaron Rodgers has over. And then he has all the passing things, Chris. He has the touch for the short passes. He can throw in the middle of the field. He can air it out. I mean, I don't know what he can't do. His accuracy, he doesn't turn the ball over that much. I mean, at least as far as interceptions.
Right.
Like, what if you were to say, well, what doesn't he do? I don't know if I have something I could say, well, he's not good at getting out of the way of this, or he can't throw the ball 60 yards. I've seen that. I've seen the Hail Marys at the end of the game.
No doubt.
He can't
Well,
roll
he's probably
out.
the best Hail Mary passer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had 4 or 5 of them, which are ridiculous.
Right.
One I saw in Detroit that was about 65 yards, which is ridiculous. But I would say Aaron, if I had to be pushed, and I'm a Montana guy, but I would say Aaron, just all skill set, Chris. I'm not talking about accolades.
Just eye test what you've seen